Today's vlog definitely has a theme. Excited to jump into it, but first, I just feel this random craving, random desire to tell you one of the things I love about me most, and it's the fact that I only text people GIFs. By the way, it's pronounced GIF, not GIF. Get over yourself. I only use GIFs with Jim Carrey in it. And it's incredible. I love that about me. And literally almost every situation, there is a Jim Carrey GIF for it. Just thought I would let you know that's a PSA for today. Okay, time to talk about the theme in a way. I'm trying to subtly hint that it's about rhyming.
All I have to say each and every week, it's all we do if you haven't figured us out yet. Jesus is better. That's what we do every week.
You've made a big impact on me when you've talked about sticky statements. And so because people's attention spans are so small, but and I think about that as I'm crafting sermons or podcasts, I'm like, where is the sticky statement?
Love it.
Here. And I always see yours when I'm scrolling through, and sometimes I'm like, oh, Trey, and sometimes I'm like,
that's funny. Yeah, I totally expect sometimes where it's like, I get it. Maybe this one was a little bit too far on the cheeky side. Oh, well. That's
but I remember them and the funny thing is about them, and you talk about how they rhyme. And you talked about that in one of your workshops. And I'm always just like, there's something about the rhyming in it that just makes it stick out more.
Yeah, I know. And I finally, I don't know, it's the way my brain works. Like I wanted so badly to be a preacher that uses illustrations, you know, that is able to just you see this ball, and they all of a sudden now you're just learn about the grace of God somehow, some crazy way. I don't know how to do that. I can't. I'm not as good at that, but even in my own devotional times, I just can't help but word craft some things in my own prayers. So it's I think this is the way, God, that you've created me. So I'm just going to go full force. I was so terrified that people would just make fun of me all the time. And people most assuredly do. Let's not, let's be real about that. But I also think that, I don't know, like you said, the whole goal behind it is that people would remember what I'm saying and stay focused. So I think it served me in that. And I'm thankful for it.
First of all, happy April 25th. It's the perfect day. Well, because
it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Even that right there is why I love to do what I do. Oh, come on. You got... So I'm currently watching Trinity alone because Faith's at school. And then poor Selah. She sounds like a sea lion. Croup really bad. So taking her to... my mom. Why do I do that? My wife is taking her to the doctor. So it's just me and Trent, and I heard a girl screaming, and it was the next door neighbor. My wife keeps telling me to download the app so I can watch her, but I keep thinking, people have parented for thousands of years without a camera. Why do I need one? But then when she's gone, I'm like, ooh, which app was that? Again, I did a whole communication workshop on this, but I think I'll just talk a little bit more in detail about why I rhyme all the time and really more of how I actually do it. And I was trying to figure out the other day, why am I obsessed with rhyming? And I really think, nature versus nurture. I think there is something in me. It's in my nature, I just kind of created that way, as I talked about in that podcast interview. But I also think nurture is a big part of it. And I think I was kind of raised in that kind of dynamic because every single night, right when podcasts came out, I listened to this preacher called Adrian Rogers. And literally at 12 years old through 15, I would put his sermons in my podcast, in my ears. I put them, in the headphones, and I would literally go to sleep. Maybe it wasn't headphones because that's very uncomfortable. Anyways, I listened to his sermons every single night. And I was obsessed with it, and they've actually turned them into Adrianisms. In this book is literally all of just his quotes. This kind of goes with what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. Discipline says I need to. Duty says I ought to. Devotion says I want to. I love this book. As a 12-year-old, I was all about the Adrianisms, and I always thought maybe, just maybe one day, I would have a book of Treyisms, which honestly I feel like is a really stupid goal in life, and thankfully I've matured a little bit, because of course it's not, you know, a book. It's like just an Instagram page of all your Treyisms. At Trey Van Camp. So because of all my rhyming, I get all the time, Trey, how do you do it? What's the trick? What's your step process? And the real thing is, like, there isn't this technical process. It changes all the time. But I do think a couple things. First thing is you need to get it before you spit it. So actually this morning, it's Thursday, and I just put my sticky statement together for Sunday's message. And of course I'm not gonna share it with you because that'll take away the power of next week's video. I had to sit in, for me, the passage, the Bible, and I had to really figure out what he was saying before I went on to think about like how to make it sticky in people's minds. I think people immediately come to the first phrase or first thought just by reading the headline of the passage, and they try to hurry up with the sticky statement before they actually get it into their bones. That's so important. For example, last week's message. Okay, so I definitely lost those sermon notes from 2 weeks ago, for last week for my sermon on Easter, and it was a really cool process I went through. I didn't find the notes, so I guess I'll go through 2 weeks ago because I still kept those. I should probably keep those. But I remember when I was first reading about light of the world, salt, all the stuff, I kept thinking, just from immediately reading it, oh, salt is decay. So I was thinking decay, away, flakes, and I literally like write down everything, and I realized, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to really look at the heart of this passage and think through how it applies to our church first before getting on it. Get it? Remember, I need to get it before I spit it. And actually, just through study, I realized salt was really helpful because it preserves. And I realized society today isn't quite preserved because we've had this somebody here. Ooh, a book I ordered. Okay, not a book I ordered, but it is gaffer's tape. That's gonna be for a future video. I realized that a big part of salt was to preserve, and I did some more studying about how actually Christians serve to help morality, and it really went into desires. So I actually pivoted. So I was just talking about decay, and I realized actually a better way to describe it is this line. And it took me a while to get there, but I put, our loudest desires must be killed so that our deepest desires may be fulfilled. I was pumped about that, but if I just stuck with decay, I would have done like decay in a day and away and array. I don't know where I would have gone. Honestly, most vlogs I start like hopping around the office to kind of show you, to keep your attention, but you know what? If you don't want to watch this, you don't want to watch this. Moving on to the next point. Once you have the meaning, once you have what you really want to say, then you start thinking of keywords. So usually for me, there's at least a keyword in the first clause and then a keyword in the second clause. Usually they compare and contrast. That's really important. So I compared in this one our loudest desires versus our deepest desires. So they don't necessarily have to rhyme. That's not the point. It's actually more powerful if they contrast. Like some of the beginning phrases contrast. It really helps bring it home when you rhyme it at the end. So a lot of times what helps me is I find that one key phrase, and then I have to go and search and look, is there a contrasting phrase, the other side of the token that the passage is trying to say? And a lot of times for me, there's two resources that help me the most. Thesaurus.com, baby. You have to look up, like sometimes maybe desire's not what I needed. So I'm trying to find another word for desire to maybe run that direction. But in this case, I realized desire makes the best point. It's not worth trying to rhyme with. This is more of the meat of the line, and I can't change it. Which leads me to rhymezone.com. So now that I've gone thesaurus, looked through all the different options of how to convey the same word, like this Sunday I'm talking about contempt, and so I'm thinking, man, do people even know what contempt means? So maybe I'll go to thesaurus.com and see if there's a better word for contempt for today's society, or do I keep it? Which, by the way, I keep it, but you're gonna have to watch next week's video to see how I pull that off. I'm so jacked about it. This actually became really easy. I thought we have to stop loudest desires. Thesaurus, stop, thinking through. No, it needs to be more dramatic, kill. And honestly, I didn't even have to go to rhymezone.com this time, but sometimes it's other phrases. You could just put kill, and then you go to rhymezone.com and boom, fulfilled, filled, rilled, sealed. It's honestly that simple, but it takes a lot of work, and honestly, it takes a lot of writing down, and you will find that
you just get better and better at it. This last point is super helpful and I've never talked about it before. Actually, 2 things. A quick thing, I've learned that maybe don't rhyme a lot, just like one line. I'm guilty of doing like 3 to 5 because I just get in this rhythm. If you have 3 to 5 lines that rhyme, I would suggest only having one that's like actually written out for your talk that like people write down, and the other ones you just almost say in passing. So maybe it might stick in their head or maybe it won't. And the last big, I think huge, let me look at my Instagram. I think rhythm is important, like counting the syllables, thinking about the rhythm, usually your first clause and your second clause. I think that's the right way to use the English phrase for grammar. They kind of need to have the same kind of rhythm to it. So I'm just checking my Instagram for some of my sayings. We block the Holy Spirit when we walk in a hurried spirit. I will produce harm in me if my soul is not in harmony. Notice the rhythm. It has to either have the same exact amount of syllables or close enough, like the rhythm of the phrase, so they flow together. I'm done trying to prove the point, but it's dun da dun da dun da dun da dun da dun. It has to really rhyme, and then the blah da dun. I don't know. It's just very important. And so many. Echo talking to me again. Comment below. Do you struggle with this? Is there any more? Oh my. The rhythm is important. Come on, get a rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get a rhythm. When you get the blues. And my baby's crying. I'm also gonna be honest, it's very convenient to do this idea vlog, which means I don't have to document my whole day. I can be done really soon. I'm really pumped about being done because I'm gonna go see Avengers tonight. So I want to be done with the edit so I can still vlog every day in April on the most perfect day, April 25th. So cheers to Avengers. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow and give you all the spoilers. Seriously, I hope I helped you with rhyming. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if that was the dumbest video you've ever seen.